using it because of problems at a purification plant. China's communist government is sticking with its controversial zero-COVID strategy, but faces public anger following widespread protests over the weekend. At the White House, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby.
Our message to peaceful protesters around the world is the same and consistent. People should be allowed the right to assemble and to peacefully protest policies or laws or dictates that they take issue with.
House Republicans are promising aggressive oversight of the Biden administration once they assume the majority next year. They are planning to take particular focus on the business dealings of presidential son Hunter Biden, illegal immigration at the U.S.-Mexico border, and the origins of COVID-19. The Senate is set to vote on a bill protecting both same-sex and interracial marriages.
Passing the cloture vote means the bill will face a final vote on Wednesday or Thursday of this week. It's expected to pass. The bill will force states to recognize same-sex marriages performed in other states, even when the couple is moving to a state that prohibits same-sex unions. Earlier this month, negotiators rolled out a bipartisan compromise that includes an amendment supporters say will guarantee protections for religious liberties. Bob Agnew reporting.
Lava is shooting into the air and flowing downhill as Hawaii's Mauna Loa volcano erupts for the first time in nearly 40 years. But for now, it poses no immediate threat. The United States faces Iran in World Cup action today. The American team needs a win to advance to the next round. More on these stories at townhall.com.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest-rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
A rail strike is looming, and the negative impact on the economy could be widespread.
President Joe Biden is calling on Congress to pass legislation to intervene and block a railroad strike before next month's deadline. Business groups said even a short-term strike would have a tremendous impact on business and could cause economic pain across the country. 8 other rail unions have ratified their deals that include 24% raises and $5,000 in bonuses. The 4 unions still negotiating say the deals did not resolve workers' concerns about demanding schedules and the lack of paid sick leave, as well as other workplace issues. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
In Mogadishu, Somalia, security forces stormed a hotel where Islamic extremists killed 8 civilians and trapped dozens of people for more than 18 hours. All 6 attackers were killed, and the hostages were freed. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston. NATO's chief has reaffirmed the alliance's commitment to Ukraine before a meeting of NATO foreign ministers in Romania. International correspondent Karen Chamis reports.
Speaking ahead of the meeting, NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said the possibility for Ukraine to join the bloc was still there.
The NATO store is open.
However, Stoltenberg asserted that Ukraine had more urgent needs.
However, the main focus now is on supporting Ukraine.
Most of all, the war-battered country will need electrical components for its devastated power transmission network ahead of a blistering winter. Stoltenberg accused Russia of deliberately attacking the energy infrastructure at a vital time for Ukraine.
President Putin is trying to use winter as a weapon of war.
I'm Karen Chamas.
I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning on this Tuesday morning, November the 29th of 2022. Your Beaver County radio weather forecast for today is calling for cloudy skies throughout the day today. High's going to be up to 53 degrees. We're going to see a big-time weather changes coming throughout the rest of the week. We'll have a complete look at your Beaver County radio weather forecast right after we have this look at news. The City of Beaver Falls Fire Department was dispatched to an apartment building fire at 1311 8th Avenue around 6:23 p.m. last night, according to Beaver County 911. The Beaver Falls Fire Chief Mark Stowe reported this morning that 2 occupants escaped from the fire in the 3-story frame structure. Upon arriving, firefighters discovered heavy smoke in a ceiling on the porch, making its way through the walls, causing heavy smoke on the 2nd and 3rd floors. Chief Stowe explained that old buildings have walls in them with void spaces, and the fire is able to spread quickly. Firefighters from Beaver, New Brighton, and Chippewa Township assisted at the scene. The Red Cross is assisting those tenants displaced by the fire. Shell Polymers Monaca reported on their Facebook page yesterday that they experienced an issue with the steam generator at the Shell Cracker plant in Potter Township that resulted in flaring in the site's ground flare system. Flaring was expected to continue throughout last evening as equipment was returned back to normal operation. The company explained that the primary purpose of the flares is to enable a safe response to equipment malfunctions, and that system is working as designed. Shell apologized for any inconvenience and said that they are working diligently to minimize the duration of flaring. Shell went on to say that the safety of the workers, the community, and the environment are top priorities for the Shell Cracker plant. More than 24 hours after a Ford pickup truck slammed into a home at the corner of 3rd Street and Mercer Avenue in the Oak Hill section of New Brighton, it is still lodged there. Crews responded around 1:30 a.m. early Monday morning to the accident. There was no word on how that accident occurred or what caused the truck to land in the living room of Becky Sacco's home. The investigation is currently ongoing. Now, the reason the truck is still in the house at this point in time is they're saying if they remove the truck, the house will collapse. So they have to figure out a way to prop the house up and then remove the truck. Now, we've reached out to the New Brighton Police Department to get more information, but have not heard back from them yet. The resident of the home heard a noise while in bed and felt the whole house shake. When she came downstairs, she discovered there was a truck in her living room. No one in the house was injured. An arrest warrant has been issued for 37-year-old Kevin Crew of Northview Heights. Crew is accused of shooting his wife in the leg while they were driving along I-579 in Pittsburgh after they got into an argument in their car. Crew allegedly pulled out a gun while his wife was driving and shot her in the leg and then told her to keep driving. She pulled the car over and got out. Crew then got into the driver's seat and left his wife on the off-ramp. Police were called to the scene around 1:30 p.m., and that is when they found the woman and discovered that she had been shot in the leg. She was taken to hospital in serious but stable condition. Crew is being charged with aggravated assault, recklessly endangering another person, and a firearms violation. Gas prices in western Pennsylvania are 3 cents cheaper this week at $3.99 per gallon, according to AAA East Central's gas price report. The average price of gas during the week of November the 29th of last year was $3.57 a gallon. The average price of unleaded self-serve gasoline in Beaver County is $3.96 a gallon. The national average for a gallon of gas has dropped 12 cents this week to $3.54, which is 22 cents less than a month ago and 15 cents more than a year ago. It is the steepest weekly decline since early August. According to data from the Energy Information Administration, gas demand, excluding holiday travel, fell from 8.74 million barrels to 8.33 million barrels per day last week. Meanwhile, total domestic gasoline stocks rose by more than 3 million barrels to 211 million barrels. Increasing supply and fewer drivers fueling up have pushed the pump prices lower.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Mostly cloudy skies today with a high of 53 degrees. Showers and thunderstorms overnight tonight with a low down to 44. Now tomorrow is going to be a mixed day. We're going to have rain showers and possibly late afternoon snow showers as temperatures will fall throughout the day. We'll reach our high of 53 by 9 a.m. tomorrow, then falling to around 38 by dinner time. It'll also become very windy tomorrow with gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. There's little to no snow accumulation that is expected. Now on Thursday, we'll rebound with mostly sunny skies. The high will be up to 38 degrees. And then Friday, it's going to be mostly sunny, high of 49 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WNBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com.
Now, it's time to talk on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. And now, here is the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
Minutes after 10 o'clock, holding at 44 degrees in downtown Beaver Falls, just having a laugh. Have you ever known someone that they were still doing their job, but they knew they weren't going to be doing it very much longer? The term is short-timer's disease, is what I've heard. And if you're a short-timer and you got it puts you in the best mood. I'm trying to figure out if the replacement's going to be in as good a mood. Please welcome Mike Rubino and Mary Lou Harjo. Mike Rubino has been the executive director of the United Way for what, about 70, 80 years?
8.5, sir.
8.5. You retired, but then you had to come back. And now Mary Lou is going to be the new Mike Rubino.
And she's going to be a better looking and a better Mike Rubino.
What's that saying? And for people that doubt that, this is being live Facebook feeded. You can go ahead and take a look on our Facebook page. Mary Lou Harjo and Mike Rubino are my guests on this day of giving. All right, Mary Lou, how did he talk you into it? First things first.
Well, it was really quite a coincidence because I just happened to schedule a meeting with him to talk about some funding for another organization.
Okay.
And
what was the organization? Because people in the charity world in Beaver County know who you are.
It was for Beaver County Humane Society, which is where I was before this.
Mm-hmm.
And we just started talking about my background and about him trying to retire. And he said, "Why haven't you applied for this job?"
What was your answer to that?
I said I just hadn't thought about it because I wasn't out looking for a job.
Because you were happy with what you were doing,
with,
right?
You know, who could not be happy with dogs and cats and
I agree.
kittens and puppies?
Yeah.
But he said, "I think you should apply." And so I said, "Well, I'll think about it." And then about an hour and a half later, he called me and said, "You really need to get your resume in because they're going to be doing interviews on Tuesday." Now, this was a Thursday.
Okay.
So I thought, well, why not? And the rest is history.
Mike, when obviously you guys knew each other, but when you were dealing with Mary Lou, what made you think, you know what, she'd be perfect for the job that I've retired from once?
Yeah, she definitely fit the bill. I mean, we had our checklist. I had my personal checklist of the type of person that we wanted to replace me. And we wanted somebody that, A, was known in the Beaver County community, that lived in Beaver County.
For sure.
We wanted somebody that knew about the nonprofits and had a passion for the nonprofits. But then on the other hand, you have to have somebody that knows how to raise money, that knows how to, be in front of individuals, be in front of groups, be in front of companies, and not be afraid to ask for the donation. And then when I, talked to her a little further and found out she was much more savvy than I in social media, that was, put me over the top and thinking that she would be the right fit. I mean, you always wonder, I consider myself a man of faith, and I was always wondering, to the Lord, I've been planning this retirement for over 2 years. Why didn't it happen and was supposed to happen? And there had to be a reason for it. And I think Mary Lou was the reason that the right person wasn't there when June 30th was supposed to happen. And it took us a little while to find the right person. And they say, anything worth waiting for, anything you wait for is well worth it. And I think Mary Lou's going to do a fantastic job for us.
What was on your list? Because people if I'm hiring somebody or trying to find somebody to replace whatever this is I do, you can be pretty protective about getting the right candidate. What you said, you had a personal list. What was on the personal list that Mary Lou qualified with?
I think we were looking for somebody that wasn't looking for a job, which in this case, she wasn't looking for a job. Somebody that had a passion for the nonprofits and understood the trials and tribulations of people who are underpaid and overworked, but are doing their job because they have a mission in their heart. That's an intangible, really. And so that was one of the things. The second thing, we were looking for somebody who, I don't know how to say this tactfully, but has a little bit of gravitas, that can come into a room, and not that I have it.
Well,
but
okay, first you got to explain what that is, because that's vaguely Latin and that's over my head.
That's a Catholic high school.
Yeah.
Somebody that carries themselves professionally, can carries themselves with an air of confidence, but yet has a disposition though that isn't withholding, so that you don't people feel comfortable with you, but yet they know that it's not a silly situation, although sometimes I can be silly. But the somebody that, again, that carries respect and would be able to give respect, and somebody who's not afraid to ask for the donation. I mean, the easy thing is to be nice and to be kind and to socialize and glad hand. But at some point, you're going to have to say, you know what, we need you to do something for us. No matter if it's small or little, no matter if it's time or talent, or, of course, in our case, it has to be a lot of treasure, so that we can pass that out to the charities in Beaver County.
Mike Rubino and Mary Lou Harjo, you are my guest with the United Way of Beaver County. How difficult is that to learn, Mary Lou? Because that doesn't come natural. And Mike, and you and I have talked about this. The scariest thought ever would be me asking strangers for money. How did you learn how to do that? What's the curve on figuring that out?
I think the main thing is that you really have to believe in what you're asking for the money for.
Okay.
So if it's something, for example, when I was at the Humane Society, I saw every day the difference in people's lives that an adopted, rescued dog can make. And so the more we were able to take care of the animals in the shelter, and of course that took a lot of money to do, then the happier people were going to be. And that's really the crux of it, is how can I help to help others who are in need. And so in my position at the United Way, the way I can do that is to find funds to help the agencies who are out on the streets and in people's homes helping others.
Talk about those agencies for a minute, because the list is too long to remember. The United Way helps how many agencies in Beaver County? This is good.
Yeah, we have 17 partner agencies.
You should both
that
know
we
that.
Help. But there are a lot of other agencies that are also helped, and Mike can give you that exact number. But when people donate, they can also designate to a nonprofit 501c3 organization. So it may or may not be one of our partner agencies. It may be, for example, the Beaver County Humane Society. It may be another organization in Beaver County or elsewhere that they want to designate that money to.
So this year, 75 different charities will be receiving monies because the United Way in Beaver County exists and runs a campaign. The 17 partner agencies, those were pinpointed many years ago by our board, and not the agencies per se, but the programs that they run. And the programs that are within those 17 agencies cover from pre-birth to natural death, meaning the Catholic charities that we give money to, their money that we give is designated to help expectant mothers, to make sure they're healthy, mentally, physically, spiritually. And then once they have their babies, they can help them all the way through with diapers and feeding and postpartum issues and things of that nature. And then the other extreme, of course, with natural death, is to keep our seniors as healthy and as happy as possible. So the Lutheran Services is a big operation, but we give money to them specifically for the Beaver County Meals on Wheels program, so that people who can't cook for themselves but want to stay in their home can get meals delivered to them and get a check-in on their loved ones when those meals are delivered, along with Homemaker Home Health, which is another one of our partner agencies that will go in and do light cleaning and medicines and just visits and things of that nature. So that right now there are over 900 individuals in Beaver County that are able to stay in their homes instead of being institutionalized because of those two programs and other things that we do with the United Way.
I brought this up earlier because it's the National Day of Giving. I want to make a statement. I want you to correct me or tell me I'm right. You ready? COVID taught us to be, at least for the moment, a little more generous and thoughtful for others? Mike?
We hope so.
I like. And see, there's that optimism. Okay.
Yeah, we hope so, and they have been, and it's been in different ways. It has been actually a double-edged sword because of the fact that there are more people that need help since COVID, and one of the issues, and we're going there right after here. One of the issues is mental health. COVID has really affected children, teenagers, adults, people that are by themselves. And because of the shutdowns, because of the lockups and everything of that nature, the mental health issues have become a real problem. And that filters into a lot of things in our society, as we know, with the mass shootings and things of that nature. So mental health is really, really important. We're actually going to the Mental Health Association after here for a check presentation, and we're just going as guests, but they're, again, one of our partner agencies. But there's a corporation in Beaver County that's making a 4-figure donation to the Beaver County Mental Health Association to help them in their mission. So on one hand, there's been more people that need the help, but on the other hand, we have looked inward, individuals, and said to ourselves, you know what, life is short, can't take it with you, and we're just hoping that maybe we can make a difference, and we're going to try to help somebody. And so on the Day of Giving today, that's happening all across the country, is something that's very vital. I know a lot of the charities look to this day to get a bulk of what they get from the general public in their donations. There's a lot of organizations that are able to have money matched when they get money given to them today. United Way, we sort of step back on this day, though. That might sound odd, but so many of our charities are pushing this, that we don't want to then
dilute them, their message,
because sort of I don't want to say this, sounding too proudly, but we're kind of the umbrella for all the nonprofits in Beaver County.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why United Way. So not that we have any jurisdiction over them, but we're kind of the big boy in the room because we're an international organization, and of course been in Beaver County since 1960.
Well, Mary Lou, talk about that. Mike Rubino is my guest. Mary Lou Harjo is my guest. Mike Rubino, are you still technically the director, or is she your boss, or how does this work? Because you're training your replacement.
Yeah,
that don't need trained, clearly.
It's a job share. Let's put it that way.
It's a job
share. It's a job share.
Okay.
Right.
It depends what the problem is. If it's a big enough problem, then I give it to her. If it's a smaller problem, then I'll take it, and I'll be the director for that problem.
Although I do have to say I fixed the copier the other day.
She did.
Oh, do you know how much job security that provides you in an office?
Well, everyone was pretty happy.
Yeah.
As well as the
Is that what won
copier
them
repairman that didn't have to come out.
Is that what won everybody over? It's like, I don't know about this new lady, but she fixed the copier.
She got down on the ground and reached under, and it was like she was fixing a car, and she pulled out a piece of paper that we had no idea was there. And next thing you know, the copier's working.
That's how you do it. You show. I'll do any job I'll ask you to do. I'll do.
Right. That's right.
Talk about the jobs that you had that led you to this. You talked about the Humane Society. That's not the only job in charitable work that you've had.
No. For the most number of years in my career, I worked in long-term care in various organizations. The one that I worked the longest in was Lutheran Senior Life, and I started the Life Beaver County program as the program manager, which I would think a lot of your listeners are familiar with that program.
Sure.
And really, the program was designed to help so many older adults in need. And
that's a growing population.
It really is a growing population. And, if anything, it taught me that it's not always just the older adult who is in need, but it is their family members as well who are in need. So I got to know so many of the other charitable organizations in the county because I was referring the daughter, the son, the grandkids to them so that they could get help, so that they could then better support their parent who was also in need. So it really is Beaver County can be a large community at times, but it can also be a very small community in the fact that people know each other, the organizations know each other, and work so well together. And so I always looked for other ways to help our foundation raise money. And we had a huge purse bash that we started years ago when purse bashes were just getting started.
What's a purse bash?
Oh, you go and you have the opportunity to win all sorts of designer purses, which may not be of interest to you, but
I'm much more comfortable in having to have had to ask you that question.
Yes.
I was worried it's going to be something that I, as a man, should know about it, but I shouldn't, should I?
Well, there are man bags and
No, there aren't.
Yes, there are.
No, there aren't.
And there is
Here,
also luggage. There's luggage that men can use that we would often have as well.
Mary Lou.
And wallets.
Thank you. There's your man bag.
There you go. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing in it.
No. But women, of course, like handbags. And so we raise a lot of money with that.
And I see it. I'm kind of goofing on it, but as a fundraiser, that brings out some cash, don't it?
It can bring a lot of money. And it is just something there again that it helps to fund what you're doing. Now, whether or not the United Way will ever have one, I can't say. But the other organizations that I've been involved with, the Humane Society has one. And so I helped with that as well.
It makes money.
And it makes a lot of money. People enjoy it, but it also engages the community with your organization. And that is also important because at Lutheran Senior Life, with the Life Beaver County, well, all of the life programs in our 4-county area, we had business owners coming to the event, donating purses, donating raffle baskets. So if you're not necessarily known well in an area, those types of things create awareness and get it known. So not only is fundraising important for bringing in the money, but it's important in terms of educating people on what we do. And with the United Way, one of the things that Mike often says is that historically it has been supported through the older generation, that a lot of younger people don't give to the United Way.
Mm-hmm.
When I was getting ready to come here and I was telling different people where I was going, I had a person in their 20s say to me, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, you've never heard of the United Way?" She said, no clue. So I explained to her what the United Way does, and her response was, "That is so cool. I wish I would know about that."
Well, now you do.
And I said, "Well, now you do." But I think that that's part of the issue, is that the younger generation didn't grow up working in, or now is not working necessarily in companies that do the United Way campaigns, the payroll deduction, and they may or may not have been involved with a charitable organization in their past to even know what the United Way does for them. So I think it's a matter of education, which goes back to those events. That's a good way that you can educate people. But also, like Mike was saying, the social media is something that we're trying to do more of. And so I would ask your listeners to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, or LinkedIn if you're a professional and you're listening. We do have pages on all of those, and we are posting on them. So that's something that I would like people to do. And that's just another way that I think we will begin, baby steps, of course, to engage the younger generation.
All right, I want to talk specifically about what you just brought up after the news. Mary Lou Harjo is my guest. Mike Rubino is my guest. The United Way co-directors for the time being on this day, this National Day of Giving on Beaver County Radio.
What's your favorite Christmas memory? Maybe it's a memory from your childhood or something more recent. Whatever it is, Roseland Candy Castle in New Brighton invites you to share your favorite memory win a box of their delicious chocolates. You can share your Christmas memory on Beaver County Radio's Facebook page or on the air during Teleforum with Eddie Crow each Friday from now until December the 16th. It's all part of Roslyn Candy Castle's Christmas Memories Contest right here on Beaver County Radio.
Children are the future, and your future career begins at Life Steps Early Education Center. Life Steps is hiring preschool teachers and child care assistants for full-time, part-time, or substitute positions. Life Steps offers 100% paid health, dental, and vision premiums for full-time staff. Make a difference in the life of a child and call Life Steps today at 724-283-1010 or visit lifesteps.net. That's lifesteps.net to find out more. Life Steps is an equal opportunity employer.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM. Along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning on this Tuesday morning, November the 29th of 2022. Your Beaver County radio weather forecast for today is calling for cloudy skies throughout the day today. High's going to be up to 53 degrees. We're going to see a big-time weather changes coming throughout the rest of the week. We'll have a complete look at your Beaver County radio weather forecast right after we have this look at news. The City of Beaver Falls Fire Department was dispatched in an apartment building fire at 1311 8th Avenue around 6:23 p.m. last night, according to Beaver County 911. The Beaver Falls Fire Chief Mark Stowe reported this morning that 2 occupants escaped from the fire in the 3-story frame structure. Upon arriving, firefighters discovered heavy smoke in a ceiling on the porch, making its way through the walls, causing heavy smoke on the 2nd and 3rd floors. Chief Stowe explained that old buildings have walls in them with void spaces, and the fire is able to spread quickly. Firefighters from Beaver, New Brighton, and Chippewa Township assisted at the scene. The Red Cross is assisting those tenants displaced by the fire. Shell Polymers Monaca reported on their Facebook page yesterday that they experienced an issue with the steam generator at the Shell cracker plant in Potter Township that resulted in flaring in the site's ground flare system. Flaring was expected to continue throughout last evening as equipment was returned back to normal operation. The company explained that the primary purpose of the flares is to enable a safe response to equipment malfunctions, and that system is working as designed. Shell apologized for any inconvenience and said that they are working diligently to minimize the duration of flaring. Shell went on to say that the safety of the workers, the community, and the environment are top priorities for the Shell cracker plant. More than 24 hours after a Ford pickup truck slammed into a home at the corner of 3rd Street and Mercer Avenue in the Oak Hill section of New Brighton, it is still lodged there. Crews responded around 1:30 a.m. early Monday morning to the accident. There was no word on how that accident occurred or what caused the truck to land in the living room of Becky Sacco's home. The investigation is currently ongoing. Now, the reason the truck is still in the house at this point in time is they're saying if they remove the truck, the house will collapse. So they have to figure out a way to prop the house up and then remove the truck. Now, we've reached out to the New Brighton Police Department to get more information, but have not heard back from them yet. The resident of the home heard a noise while in bed and felt the whole house shake. When she came downstairs, she discovered there was a truck in her living room. No one in the house was injured. When John Fetterman goes to Washington in January as one of the Senate's new members, he'll bring along an irreverent style from Pennsylvania. It's one that extends from his own personal and very casual dress code to hanging marijuana flags outside his current office in the state capitol. Pennsylvania's unique lieutenant governor just flipped the state's open Senate seat to Democrats and may be the only senator ever to be declared an American taste god, as GQ magazine once said. He'll be the country's tallest senator, and he might be the most tattooed one as well. But Pennsylvania's sitting Democrat Senator Bob Casey says he expects that Fetterman will navigate the clubbiness of the Senate just fine. Officials in a northeastern Pennsylvania county where paper shortages caused Election Day ballot problems are deadlocked on whether to report official vote tallies to the state. The tie vote yesterday effectively prevents Luzerne County's certification of the November 8th election results. 2 Democratic members of the Luzerne County Board of Elections and Voter Registration voted in favor of certification. Both Republicans voted no, and the 5th member, a Democrat, abstained. A judge extended voting in Luzerne County by 2 hours to 10 p.m. after the supplies ran short at some polling places. House Republicans are promising aggressive oversight of the Biden administration once they assume the majority next year. They are planning to take particular focus on the business dealings of presidential son Hunter Biden illegal immigration at the U.S.-Mexican border, and the origination of the COVID-19. The House members expected to lead those investigations include Ohio's Jim Jordan, a favorite of former President Donald Trump. Jordan is likely to lead the House Judiciary Committee. Another is Kentucky's James Comer, who is expected to lead the House Oversight and Reform Committee.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Mostly cloudy skies today with a high of 53 degrees. Showers and thunderstorms overnight tonight with a low down to 44. Now tomorrow is going to be a mixed day. We're going to have rain showers and possibly late afternoon snow showers as temperatures will fall throughout the day. We'll reach our high of 53 by 9 a.m. tomorrow, then falling to around 38 by dinner time. It'll also become very windy tomorrow with gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. There's little to no snow accumulation that is expected. Now on Thursday, we'll rebound with mostly sunny skies. The high will be up to 38 degrees. And then Friday, it's going to be mostly sunny, high of 49 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum, 724-843-1888. 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
It is the National Day of Giving, and we're talking to Mary Lou, and we're talking to Mike Rubino and Mary Lou Harjo of the United Way of Beaver County on this day. Before the break, Mary Lou, you brought up something really interesting to me. You were telling a story about this younger person didn't know what the United Way was. How important is it that charities recognize the social media world?
I think it's vital for their long-term existence because as the generation who gave, I think in some ways, and I don't mean this in a critical way, blindly to organizations, and I include myself in that generation.
You just gave when somebody asked.
Gave when someone asked. The younger generation, what I have seen is that they want to know who their dollar impacts, not necessarily what, but who. And so it's important to tell the stories of, Johnny, who is receiving help from Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
They want an example. How did this money help you? Who did this help?
Exactly.
Okay.
And, as the older generation goes away, the organizations who were depending on them for a lot of their funding needs to include the younger generation and find new ways to reach them. And a lot of that, as we were talking on break, is social media.
Right.
Where if it's not on social media, some of the younger generation don't pay attention to it. They don't necessarily look at billboards. They certainly aren't always reading the newspapers that we grew up with. And so social media is the way to communicate with them. And they're very good at sharing information with their friends and taking a stand for something that they feel is important to them. And that's what you need in social media to grow your audience organically, where you're just not going out and trying to get this person and this person. You get this person, but they share it with their network.
It becomes exponential 1, 2, 4, 16, 64.
Exactly.
It goes out like that.
Right. That is very important, not only for the number of people following you, but the number of people that your posts are actually reaching. Because just because someone follows you does not necessarily mean that you're going to see their post. As we all probably know, I don't see every single one of my friends' posts. But the more that I interact with their posts, then the more I see their posts. So that's why we have to have interesting information on, not just throw up a post just to throw up a post, but something that engages them so that they like it or comment on it or share it.
Is it more difficult, and you're just getting into this, but is it a little bit harder to do this with the charities that you work with through the United Way compared to before? Because before working, you had pictures of puppies and kitties.
Right. Well, and whenever I came to the Humane Society, they already had a Facebook following of 23,000
Their Facebook
people.
rocks. Yes.
Yes. And while I was there, we actually grew it to about 25,000. But you're right. People love to look at pictures of
Sure.
puppies and kittens. But
You can lose the ferrets, though. You know that, right?
well, sometimes the ferrets are cute. It was the snakes that I was like,
Was
"Ugh."
it?
No, yeah.
You know, you put those ferrets and snakes together, it'll sort itself
Oh,
out.
no. Those are the things I didn't want to know about there. There was one shelter manager who was always trying to tell me about that, and I would just walk away.
Oh, that
from
one
her.
weird person.
So-
You should have seen this thing eat this thing. That
Yeah,
guy? That guy was one of my roommates. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Are young people more willing to give than they get credit for?
I think so.
Every
Yes.
generation looks and says, well, these kids today don't care. They just want to know what they're helping, don't they?
Right. Yes. And I mean, certainly, just like any generation, there's a group of people who feel that it's very important to give back, and there's a group of people who don't care. So, I certainly would not say that the younger generation is any different than my generation. It's, excuse me, again, finding something that you're interested in that meets your own qualifications for something that's deserving of your money. And let's face it, a lot of the younger people are out making a lot more money in their early jobs than we ever made. So they actually, some of them have more disposable income to be able to give. And that is one thing that I saw at the Humane Society is it was a lot of younger people who actually gave us money. So I know that they will do it if they believe in the mission.
Does that make you feel better about the youth of today or worse about our generation?
I think it makes me feel okay about both.
Okay.
Because again, I don't think that we're that different. It's just that we have different ways to communicate, that we have different interests. But, I know a lot of younger people, there were a lot of younger people that worked at the shelter. They are good people and they want to work hard. They want to make a difference, but they also want to be treated with respect. And so I think maybe, sometimes that's where we see younger people leaving jobs more than we did because you learn from your parents, look, you just go to work, you listen to your boss, and you go home.
Yeah.
Nowadays, younger people, they can move around to different jobs, and they don't necessarily have to just listen to their boss all the time. So that's another subject for another day.
No, that was interesting. I like talking about that too.
But the main thing is that, they will give. They will give of their time. They will give of their talents. Certainly, I've had a lot of my younger friends say, if you need help with something on social media, just call me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, and I depend on them. So I think they do get a bad rap.
All right. Mike Rubino had the job. Mary Lou has the job. They're both sort of sharing the job now. Mike and Mary Lou with the United Way. Mary Lou, what did you not know about this job that you have since discovered? What about this job? Because your background with all of the charity work before, you would be dealing with a lot of the same issues. But what about the United Way? Because it's a much bigger deal, like you said. It's not one charity.
Right.
It's 17 partners, and then it's dozens and dozens and dozens of other charities.
Right. I think a lot of it is just having to remember so many names and so many organizations and what everyone does and which ones are partner organizations and which ones are other organizations that we work closely with.
Just the logistics of the immense amount of it.
Right.
Okay.
And just even all of our corporate, I'll call them corporate partners, the companies and the small businesses who ask their employees to give to the United Way through payroll deduction, through their employee campaigns, getting to know all of those people also and recognizing just how important it is that they have come on board to support us in that manner.
How long does it take? You go in and you meet with someone, and Mike, you spoke of this, right? At some point, it's going to get to so can you write a check? You're not going to phrase it nearly as coarsely as I just did, but you walk in and you're having that conversation with whatever the business is, whatever the person. How long does it take before you realize this is a go or they're not going to do it? Can you read the room that quickly?
I think a lot of times I can.
Yeah.
Just doing our corporate partnership program at the Humane Society, I could pretty much tell when I started talking to someone whether they were interested or not interested. There were some people that I had to turn around that, at first they didn't think that it was something that they wanted to do.
Wait, turn around. That
Turn around
sounds kind of heavy-handed.
Yeah,
You actually spin them around?
No, I don't. But it's like anything. If you're trying to enroll someone in a long-term care program because you know that they need it, but they have objections. If you're going to someone trying to get a corporate partnership for the Humane Society or with the United Way, trying to get an HR manager or the CEO to say, yes, we'll do an employee campaign. It's really finding out what their objections are and overcoming them
and fixing it
with the stories. There again, if someone says, "Oh, I don't see why to give to the United Way. I have a charity I like to give to." Well, then you talk about all the ways that they can expand the reach of their dollar. Not that you don't want them to give to that one particular charity, but even giving to a charity through the United Way helps us help more, where that charity will still get the designated dollars, but we will also be able to count that as part of our campaign.
How often does that happen? Somebody says, I don't want to give to United Way because I already give to such and such, and you or Mike go, oh, no, that's one of our charities.
Yeah, well, two things. First of all, if they're in a company that does a payroll deduction, they may love a charity that they want to give $500 to, but don't have $500 to give at one time. But they can give $10 a pay through the payroll deduction and still get the money to that charity over a year's time, which we're the conduit to do that. They can't do that unless they go to that charity directly and say, I'm going to give you $10, and they're not going to write 52 checks.
Oof,
so,
yeah.
So that we help in that instance. The other thing is mainly too is when you have the ability to give to the United Way, especially with companies. There's companies that set aside community dollars in the beginning of the year, but they're companies that get solicited by dozens and dozens of
for
charities.
Sure, yeah.
And they don't have the time now. They don't have the personnel now to go through all those things. And then if they do, they have to go back to that charity, get all their paperwork, proof that they're 501c3, get them on their system to write a check to them for $250. So we have several companies that will say, okay, United Way, they've been around for years. We trust them. We know them. They're good people. We're going to designate Beaver County money for charities for $20,000. And in the beginning of the year, they will give us $20,000 with the caveat knowing that throughout the year, and they will get their tax write-off, they will get their thank you check, they will get everything right away from us that they're done. And then when they get solicited and they say, I really think I want to do that for Habitat for Humanity, let's do a $500 sponsorship. They send them a form. They send us a form. They say, send them the check for $500 out of our $20,000. So we're almost like their bookkeeper for their Beaver County charities, where they only, though, write one check. We're doing the other check writing for them. And it's just a service that we do to, allow more money to get into Beaver County charities that may not have gotten that way because of the minutia involved in, writing.
Yeah, look, if you've got 10 or 12 or 15 people that need to be involved to write a $200 check, that may have just cost you more than $200 to get them to do it.
Absolutely.
Is it more difficult now to get money from people after COVID than it was before, or did you just, like Mary Lou said, you had to learn different ways to do it?
That's definitely what has happened.
Yeah.
Before COVID, it's all about relationship building. And you were able to do that one-on-one and able to do that in groups and able to do that. I mean, for 3 years, I couldn't go to Eaton and speak to their employees when they bring in 350 employees at one time for me to talk to. Okay, so for 3 years, I couldn't do that.
So there's over 1,000 voices, or there's over 1,000 people that didn't hear the voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now this year we were back.
Nice.
We were able to do that, and we're going to see a difference in that. But the campaigns have changed, and I always used to say that I felt that I was honored to be like Stan Lee, and Stan Lee wrote all the stories for all the Marvel comic books and Spider-Man and all those great things.
Stan Lee is Stan Lee. He's
Yeah.
above, yes.
And so I always get to say that I get to be Stan Lee and tell the stories of the superheroes. And the superheroes are the charities, the people that work in their charities, and the clients that they serve. They're the real heroes. I was just a small cog in this whole machine that had the honor to tell their stories. And we used to be able to tell those in person. Now we can't for a couple reasons. Not only, COVID changed the world, but now over, 37% of the workers will never go back into the workplace. They're working from home. And, even a higher percent are working split hybrid. And so they don't get to have those group meetings anymore. Companies are so short-staffed because of the employee shortage that they don't have time to put together a fancy United Way committee and have all these nice touchy-feely type things that they used to. So that is a challenge. She definitely was right about the people who retire. We just got a report from Energy Harbor, which is the power plant here in Beaver County, our number one company for campaigns. And they have almost 1,000 employees. And their campaign this year was down $20,000 from last year. Typically, it was $115,000. This year, it was only
95.
It was $95,000. And I, asked the people, why do you think that is? Are we doing something wrong or whatever? They said, no, that 20,000 represented 10 retirees that are no longer.
Numbers that were in the pool that are no longer in the pool.
Right. Even though they were replaced with young folks, they just weren't like, we have to now re-educate and retell the stories to that younger generation and get to them where they're at now so that we can get them to believe in our mission. That is a very, very good mission.
All right, last question. Mary Lou, what is the most exciting part about taking over for Mike at the United Way, and what's the most daunting part?
The most exciting part is just being able to be part of the wonderful work that is being done in Beaver County and being able to create awareness and help the different organizations by creating more awareness of what they do, working with them, helping, helping to raise funds to allow them to go on. And also just meeting all of the people who are working in the companies and the businesses. I've known some of them, but I'm meeting new people every day, which I love to do. And so being part of that is just awesome. The daunting part, I think, is going to be trying to be creative every day and think about new ways to reach all of those people. One of the things that I'm just sitting here thinking about is our Roundup program.
I saw you over there kind of scribbling notes, it looked like.
Yeah. The Roundup program is something that people can find on our website, and it's just as easy as just like whenever you're in a store and they say, would you like to donate the round up to the next dollar and give to this particular charity, people can do that on their credit card. So especially as you're shopping for Christmas.
As you're setting that credit card on fire.
Exactly.
For the holidays.
Exactly. Yeah. And here again, reaching the younger people who use their credit cards for everything.
Yep.
If they put in to just have their amount of purchase rounded up to the next dollar, then that change goes to the United Way. So that's an easy way. Even if you don't want to write a check every month or even give the United Way your credit card information to do this, you can still donate to the United Way through doing that. And as Mike often says, really, sometimes for the price of a latte or a expensive coffee or tea every month, you could be making a world of difference in your own community by just donating that money to the United Way.
Mike Rubino and Mary Lou Harjo have been my guests with the United Way of Beaver County. Tell people how they can get in touch with you and sign up for the roundup and just all the information that's available, because the United Way is a huge umbrella that helps a lot of different organizations.
Sure. Our website is www.unitedwaybeaver.org. You can call our office at 724-774-3210. And again, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
On the website, for just about 30 seconds, they're going to be able to watch a video about our campaign that's going on right now that goes until May 31st of 2023. They're going to be able to see all of our partner agencies. Just click on their logos, and you'll be able to go to then that partner agency and read about all the programs that they do.
Excellent.
And then they could also make a one-time donation, a monthly donation, or sign up for Roundup right there. They also can find out information about 211, how they can get connected to services, and also they can get a free discount prescription card so that they can get savings on all their prescriptions, and they can do that on our website as well. So, yeah, UnitedWayBeaver.org is the place to be. And I personally want to thank you, Eddie, and everybody here at WBVP and WMBA for the last 8.5 years for always allowing us to come on board to get the message out that we needed to get out. So thank you very, very much.
It's a vital message, and it helps Beaver County.
And hope that in the future we'll be able to do this again under some other umbrella.
So you're saying you want to host a disco show?
Maybe Motown.
Mary Lou, what would you pick? Disco? Don't say disco. I like you too much. Don't ruin it.
I'm just going to remain Switzerland on this one.
Just hold everybody's money. That's perfect.
That's exactly what you got to do as Director United Way.
That's
you got to
it.
be Switzerland all the time.
What's your role? I'm Switzerland. Mary Lou and Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless. Merry Christmas.
This National Day of Giving, it's Beaver County Radio.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the best